kind of. Show.
Welcome to Rattler Up with Coach Walsh, live from the San Marcos High School Rattler Broadcast Studio, the place you've got to be on Monday nights to keep track of all things Rattler Nation. I'm your host, CJ Odom, with me as always, head athletic director and head football coach for San Marcos High School, Coach John Walsh. Walsh, welcome back into Rattler Up.
Let's do it.
All right, it is spring in San Marcos, and as we've talked about before, that means there is lots to talk about, lots going on, and we know that this is an exciting time of year, but it's busy.
Absolutely busy, and it's outdoors, which is because you're outdoors in the fall and you hit indoors, which is always a good because it's cold outside. But we're back outdoors, and the weather's been really good. Usually during soccer and baseball season at the beginning, it's terrible weather, but knock on wood, it's been pretty good so far.
Good so far, good so far. Well, this week on Rattler Up, we're going to get all caught up on a lot of the success going on with those sports that are in season, a couple that just wrapped up some successful seasons. And it is golf day on Rattler Up, as we are going to be joined live in studios with representatives from both the boys and girls golf team and their head coach, Coach E.J. Munilla. Now, Coach, you talk weather, and I think that's a good idea to talk about one thing, a feature that everybody knows we have the indoor football field. A lot of people have been out to the SAC and seen it. But talk about, especially with the 4 quadrants that can happen with the batting cages.
Yeah.
I think there's some stuff in the ceiling people don't know are up there that make for a fantastic facility on a rainy day.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can break the indoor turf into 4, like you said, quadrants. If it's just baseball and softball, we cut it in half. We drop some cages down, and baseball and softball get their hitting in, and really whatever they want to get in. But when soccer's going on, you can bring the other one, the horizontal one down, and we have 4 quadrants going where there's just people everywhere. And I'll just say this, we might have been in football season, and we had some weather, and Coach McWhorter, the assistant golf coach, has some golf going on in there. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's definitely a multi-purpose facility, not just an indoor football or soccer field.
Right. Well, it's fantastic to see. And we're going to talk golf today, Coach. And we talked fundraiser golf tournament the other day. You and I both were participants in the very loosest sense of the word. But
well, you're a little more participating than I am. Like, I'm terrible at the sport, but I love the sport. I can drive a golf cart, and I can hit a putt every now and then.
I do think golf cart is the best part of a golf season, right? So, all right, well, before we get into our Rattler Nation update, we want to make sure to congratulate our girls soccer team on a terrific season. We talked about them. We had them in studio. We were excited about what they did. They finished the season 10-8-4, secured that 3rd place finish in district, and got that all-important playoff berth. They ran into a tough first-round opponent in bi-district, facing off against the Reagan Rattlers. They didn't get the win, but they made a terrific run. And, Coach, I know it's obviously, somebody's got to lose at some point, but what do they have to build on? They really had themselves set up for great success in the future.
Yeah, just the 2 parts. One, just building, just watching the growth. We talked about it with Cassie, Coach Hormuth, when she was in here with her captains. Just the growth Coach Hormuth and the girls have taken together has been remarkable in 1 year. And really, it doesn't matter what sport you're in, like baseball. We're talking about baseball here in a little bit. When you get into playoffs, your path, how far you go, sometimes depends on your seed. Now, you like to say I can beat everybody and anybody, but you like to have the best path. That's why they seed you.
Right.
We were sitting in the 2nd seed. We had beat Steele to take over the 2nd seed, and we just needed them to lose to someone else. And we took care of our business, but the others kind of took care of their business too, which dropped us to the 3rd, which I went to the game. Reagan was good, and it just wasn't our night.
Right. Well, again, the idea that they're set up for success moving forward is really the important thing.
Absolutely.
And we're excited about that. Well, next up, let's get updated on all our Rattler Nation athletics that are currently in season with our Rattler Nation update. We know that we've got lots going on, and we want to make sure that we cover. These are, first of all, a couple of teams that we just had in studio on our last show. We had Coach Stoughton in here with the softball girls. We had Coach Webb in here with the baseball team. Had a lot of fun. We got to talk some superstitions.
Oh, yeah.
They were a little clammy about telling us some of those superstitions. But
good.
Let's start with the softball team. Right now, they are sitting at 2-4 in district play with victories over Clemens and East Central. They're now in the 2nd half of the season and really need to make a rally to make that playoff run. So, Coach, you've seen situations like this. In this situation, they're not in a playoff spot right now, but there's a season left, and there's a chance here they have the ability. What do they have to focus on when you're out of it and you're fighting to get into it?
Yeah, and it's so fun to be around these girls. And the great thing about athletics is sometimes it's not always easy, and they definitely have the hard road. Maybe the second game I made at the ballpark, we lost our center fielder CJ to she was making a play at the wall and had an injury, and we lost her for the year. And then we just beat, I believe it was East Central. We just beat somebody that was leading the district.
Right.
Beat them. Our Addie was pitching for us. She's the freshman pitcher. And I believe that the story goes, we hit a home run in the top of the seventh, and then they got runners on and had a chance to take the lead in the bottom of the seventh. We held them off and beat them, and then got the terrible news that Addie's done for the year too. So,
Goodness.
I mean, they're just fighting the injury bug. Mm-hmm. It's part of the sport, but they just got to remain focused and know what the goal is and just do the best you can. And they got another good pitcher in Kaylee, so we got a shot.
Well, it's always great to see when you've got those players that can step up. We talked about that during the football season. You know, injuries and health was an issue, but you were always blessed to have that kid that could step up and take that next spot.
It's an opportunity for somebody, yeah, right. Opportunity for somebody.
Well, now on the other side of the diamond, baseball, we talked to them in the studio last time, and we talked to them a lot about how difficult their preseason schedule is. Coach Webb has always been a stickler on that. He's going to put those guys through the grind pre-district, and it seems to have paid off. They're sitting at 6-1 in district play, good for a first place standing. And we got 9 games to go. We talked last week time about baseball this year, a 3-game set on every series now. So a big one coming up with New Braunfels. So opposite issue here.
Yep.
What does Coach Webb have to do? You're sitting in first. All things are firing, but as you've said, it's about when you get hot.
Yeah.
How do you stay hot and make sure you maintain that through the playoffs?
You know, Webb is seasoned, and he's one of those guys I don't have to coach up because he's got to figure it out. If you want to make a run in the playoffs and not just make the playoffs, you have to schedule well in preseason. And they went through all the fires, like you said, and they've grown. We started district and still got slapped in the face, got beat by East Central, a game that nobody in that dugout expected to lose, but baseball's baseball. Sometimes it happens. And then now they're on a 6-game winning streak. And I think if Coach Webb was sitting here, he don't want to be playing his best baseball right now against New Braunfels this week. He wants to play well enough to win. He wants his best baseball to come here in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely, and I think that's what you said. First of all, in baseball, maybe more so than any other sport, anybody can win on any game.
It's a failure sport.
Absolutely. Whereas with a lot of sports, you kind of know where you stand.
Yeah.
So baseball team going to be fighting to stay where they are in that first place spot. And then we'll go to track and field, boys and girls track. So give everybody the update. We know we got some big stuff coming up with the track meets coming up.
Yeah, we're excited. They just came off. They've been running a pretty good schedule themselves. And the track, I went to Austin to watch them run. We got girls and boys everywhere all over the track. Field events, running events. Our coach is doing a great job in the participation piece. And we're young in the girls, but they're really talented. There's freshmen and sophomore running everywhere. So I think we got it. And then Xavier Harris, he was one of the best triple jumpers in the state last year. And he's like baseball, he's trying to peak at the right time. But then we took a crew to Texas Relays. They competed really well at the best of the best. We got district track meet coming up next Wednesday and Thursday. And just keep out. I think we're going to have quite a bit qualify for regionals.
That's going to be awesome. Now, down to some
area.
lower.
We do area now, don't we? Area.
Right. Area first. Now, we got some little ones that we're hoping to get some track meet, but the weather may not be quite
Yeah,
right.
so we had a really good event coming up for our future Rattlers. I think there are going to be 680 fifth graders here Thursday to do our 5th grade track meet. They haven't done one here in a long time. And Dylan Jones and the PE teachers, my wife's a PE teacher, they've got it organized, but the rain's going to make us reschedule. So we're going to get the 5th grade track meet in, whether it's this week or next week.
All right, well, I've got a little 5th grader ready to do the high jump.
Good.
She's excited, so we're looking forward to seeing that. Well, like we talked about this week on Rattler Up, it is golf week on Rattler Up, and that's what we're going to turn to now, as we're going to talk boys golf, girls golf. We're going to have their head coach in here, and so we want to go ahead and talk all things golf, a sport that I think a lot of people know about as far as understanding the sport of golf, but maybe just don't understand it as a high school sport and what goes on with a high school sport. So we're going to welcome in some members of the boys golf team as well as their head coach, Coach E.J. Munilla. So, Coach, we'll introduce the boys here in a minute, but Coach, welcome in, and thanks for being with us on Rattler Up.
Well, thanks for having us. Excited to be here.
All right, well, we want to make sure that we get everybody a chance in Rattler Nation to know our coaches. I think that's one of their favorite parts of the show is getting to know the guys and girls that are running these teams and putting all these hours in. We definitely send some love to you guys about the hard work and dedication it takes to be a coach in Rattler Nation. So why don't you introduce yourself to Rattler Nation, let our fans know a little bit about you, and just how you got to be a part of San Marcos Athletics.
Yeah, well, I'm Ej Mungia. Last year I was the middle coordinator for the boys athletics, and this is my first year at the high school, first year coaching golf too as well. And for me, it was you know, it was great coming in because this is my second stint in San Marcos, and you know, coming back, you know, I quickly realized some of these guys I coached in middle school. So seeing them at the middle school level, seeing them now at the high school level, seeing them mature and their growth, you know, it is definitely just a good feeling to see, you know, the great young men that they're becoming. You know, there's some challenges at the start of the year, you know, some goals that, you know, we didn't think we could accomplish, but, you know, just seeing the progress from the start of the year to the end of the year till now, it's just great, you know, putting in the work and seeing, you know, what we could do.
All right, well, we talk a lot on Rattler Up about the Rattler way of doing things, right, across all our athletic programs. There's just a way we do things in Rattler Nation for our athletics, and we know that golf is just a little bit different in a lot of ways, from location to individual versus team. So let folks know a little bit about some of those differences. What's a little bit of a challenge to coaching a sport like golf?
Well, it's definitely a challenge, you know, taking over the program in the summer, just with one, you know, not having an affordable golf course for our kids to play in San Marcos. And I think, you know, trying to find the right practice plan, you know, the commute going from Wimberley to Seguin to New Braunfels, and, you know, just trying to find a consistent plan for our golfers just to get better. So that was one. And then, you know, a second thing was, you know, growing our numbers. You know, when we took over, I got a list of 6 names that were returning that weren't including our freshmen. And then with our girls, the first tournament we had was only 2 girls. So, you know, when me and Coach McWhorter, who's also his first year with me, our number one goal was to grow the program. And, you know, we did that. And once we grow the program, you know, we got our girl golfers too, first year playing. They barely picked up club, some of them 4 months ago, 5 months ago. And you can see the frustrations on their end too. When they're frustrated, the number 2 goal is we want them to enjoy it. We want them to enjoy the game of golf. We tell them it doesn't matter how good you are or how much of a beginner you are. Everybody has their frustrations. But as long as you're having fun in the end. And then the third thing was, you know, competing, trying to become, you know, a top program in the area, because that's one thing that, you know, I don't think we've expected to compete in some tournaments, and just trying to understand what we can do with the hard work that we do in practice.
And I think he undervalued what they got to do to get the practice workouts, because our athletic program is a big matrix, so I get lost in it. So EJ, just kind of, I see y'all when it's dark in the morning loading the bus, right? And I think they're loading the bus after school at times. So I mean, it's morning and night. We got our transportation does a great job of leaving the bus here for us, and he and Coach McWhorter do a phenomenal job, and they do too, of having to, because it's not just down the road where they have to go, and whether they're leaving in the morning or in the afternoon, we have school somewhere in there, you know. So it's a tough matrix.
All right, and you mentioned we're playing in Wimberley, we're playing in Seguin, and we're not talking about tournaments. This is our practice. To get our practice.
Just practice.
I mean, every other sport we're practicing right here on campus. For you guys, that's just simply not the case. That's got to be a difficult challenge. We're going to talk a little bit more about getting some of those new golfers in when we get back to you, Coach, but we want to meet the team. So, gentlemen, why don't you just take turns with the mic and introduce yourselves. Let everybody know your name, your grade, and I'd like to know why you chose to play golf.
Well, Coach Walsh, my name's Daniel, and I've been playing since 8th grade. I picked up the sport kind of as not sure where I wanted to go next, because I played football in middle school, but I didn't really feel like it was for me. And I just remember one day walking into the locker room, and I saw this poster on the wall, and it said golf tryouts, and I was like, well, maybe I'll try that. And I just went, and here we are 4 years later as a senior, still enjoying it, still loving the game, you know, always getting better.
Awesome.
I'm Michael Lancaster. I'm a freshman, and I've been playing golf since about 7th grade. And similar thing with Daniel, I didn't know really what I wanted to do. I played basketball all throughout middle school, and I just stuck with golf.
I'm Kai. Most of y'all probably already know me. I've been playing golf since I was 2.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm 17 going on 18. It's always been a sport I've loved to play. I don't really see it more of a sport. It's more of just like a hobby. Love being out there with the team. And I've always loved playing golf for the school, especially with Coach Mungia. He makes it just as much more fun for all of us. So, and I am a senior.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to ask all of you again, what do you find to be the most challenging part of the golf game for you?
The most challenging part of the golf game for me personally is because golf is my second sport. I would like to be out on the course 7 days a week, but a lot of times that's not the case. So for me, it's just being able to be consistent, practicing, and just trying to keep my scores as low as possible, really, at the end of the day, because that's the goal of golf, keep it low.
So you're a short game guy or long game guy?
A little bit of both. I don't hit it as far as Josh does. I wish I could, but he can really drive the ball. But I know how to get myself in the best situations and make my putts when it comes down to it. So I'm really good at scrambling, I guess, is what you could say.
Okay, awesome. So Michael, what about you? What's the biggest challenge for you in golf?
I'd say the biggest challenge is probably getting up in the morning, like every week. I mean, it's not too difficult, but sometimes because I live like 20 minutes away, I have to get up at like, 5 in the morning sometimes. And yeah, it can be difficult, but other than that, I say there's not much.
It's obviously worth it. It looks like. All right. Well, what about you, Daniel?
I don't know. It's just something about golf for me that just makes me like enjoy it a lot. Like maybe it's just the part where I never feel like I can master it, because that's the big thing for me. Like I always pick up hobbies, but once I feel like I got a good grip on it, then I like just get bored of it super fast. But I've never had that problem with golf.
And you won't ever.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
I can assure you.
But I don't know. It's just every time I feel like I learned something and I feel like I know it, then all of a sudden I don't. Like there's always something new coming up, something that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Like every few months, even as long as I've been playing, I feel like I learned something new. Every couple of months, there's always something that comes up, and it's like, wow. This game has an insane depth that you never even would expect just looking at it from an outside perspective.
I don't coach golf, but I do take joy in the sports that I coach, watching kids fail, see how they respond. And so I'm sure you see that a lot, because golf is a failure sport, just like we talk about baseball.
Well, Kai, let me go to you specifically. Tell us a little bit about that practice. Okay, not both what the team does. We've talked about some of those difficult trainings and times, but also you individually. What do you do to practice and get ready for competition?
So for most of this year, I was on the basketball team, and we had a great season. But with having a great season, that means we're practicing every single day. So there'd be days of practice where I'm getting out of basketball at like 6 or 7, but right after basketball, I'm on the range 7 to 9, or I'm at home hitting balls. So for me personally, I got to make time outside of where the team is practicing just to get my practice in so I can keep up with these guys. For them personally, I wish I was them. They're in the 5th period golf period every day. They're always working on something. Coach Mungia has a practice plan. And a lot of times I don't get that since I'm not always in the basketball period. In the golf period, I'm in basketball. So with that, I'm having to work almost twice as hard as these guys, just trying to get out on the course wherever it's possible to just play more golf.
And it's such a common thread, Coach. We talk about these guys that are multi-sport athletes, also multi-involved. Guy we talked earlier about going involved in the Taffy organization through CTE. These guys are all in these things, so that's a common thread we see.
Yeah,
in a lot
usually
of
when
athletes.
a head coach picks his athletes to come up here, they're not just doing that. They're involved in our school system, and that's why they end up being the best of the best.
All right. Well, Daniel, talk to us a little bit about something different with golf. And there's some other tracks like this, tennis like this, but it's an individual sport, but you're on a team. So how does that teamwork kind of develop when it is kind of an individual and team sport?
It's really interesting how it all works together, because when you're playing by yourself, it's real easy to just be like, oh, I'm having a bad round, it's like whatever. But when you have that extra pressure of like your teammates, and you want to make sure you perform not only for yourself but for the team, because you can't just move on by yourself. Like in district play you could, but really it's that whole team effort. That's what's really going to get you where you want to be.
Right.
And that's just the hardest part about golf, is just remembering that you have all these other players that are relying on you, and keeping that pressure and staying cool under all that pressure.
Awesome. Well, Daniel, we've got some video of you in action. I don't know if you knew that we had this. Let's go ahead and go to it. I believe this is from the Comfort Tournament, final hole at the Comfort Tournament. I guess, Coach, was this the second shot on a par 4?
This was the second shot. He drove his drive right in the middle of the fairway. He's by about 140 yards out.
Shot number 2, par 4, final hole at Comfort. And, this speaks for itself, Daniel. Boom! Eagle, play it again. Play it again. Let's see it again. Daniel, talk to us about this shot, what it meant, how you felt. That had to be incredible.
Oh, that shot meant a lot to me. That shot secured my my personal best round right there, and that day was a really phenomenal day. Overall, like there's always parts of it that you're like, okay, like you can do better, but I mean we're talking birdies, pars, like all day long. I was making putts, and just to finish it up with that, you know, like cherry on top, like that was just incredible.
Right. They talk a lot about no matter how many mistakes you make on a golf course, as long as you hit that one good shot, you'll come back and play again. And you did that at the very end. That's got to be fantastic. Well, Michael, let me ask you, what would you say to others? You guys both shared a story of just kind of like, hey, I saw a poster, I'll do that. What would you say to some other future Rattlers that are out there about why they might want to get involved with golf?
I would definitely say that you could get, well, these future Rattlers, I say that it's a good reason to get into golf because, you know, it's just a fun sport, and I love being out on the course every day of the week, especially if you're in fifth period golf. It's just amazing.
Awesome. Well, Coach, what so far, or what are you the most proud of for this boys team this past season?
I'm just proud of the success that they're having. One, I mean, you know, what they do in the classroom. What they do in the classroom, every time we do grade checks, we meet in fifth period. You know, they're always ones that I never really had to worry about. I think my biggest worry is, hey, you have a 78 here, 79 here. I need you to bring it up. You know, set higher goals for yourself, and they would. You know, I think, you know, if we could match it up, I think we have one of the highest GPAs as a program throughout the campus, and I couldn't be more proud in the honors classes that they have. You know, their AP classes and what they're going to do in the next chapters of their life for the seniors. I think second, just on the golf course, just seeing the success that they have and seeing, you know, when they light up, like when Daniel shot that eagle, you know, it wasn't just a great round for him, it was a great round for everybody. I remember Daniel telling me right after that round for all five, we turned in all five scorecards and everybody was under 100. And hearing Daniel say, Coach, you know, I've been here 4 years and, you know, we never had five golfers that broke 100. That's just our personal best score right there.
That's awesome.
And, you know, 2 days later, we have a JV tournament, and having Noah Sierra, who's a junior, you know, he medals, and we get third place in that tournament 2 days later. And just hearing him, you know, say the same things. Coach, I've been here 3 years, and we've never got one of these. We never got a medal. So just seeing the excitement on their face, but also just making them understand, you know, it comes with hard work, not just on the golf course, but in life as well.
That's awesome. Well, Coach and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. We're excited to hear about the boys golf. We're excited to see where you guys go from here. So thanks for joining us on Rattler Up.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to keep Coach here with us, and we're going to swap out as we go to commercial break. But when we return, the boys will be out, the girls will tag in, and we'll talk girls golf. All that and more when we return. Keep it here on Rattler Up. Welcome back to Rattler Up with Coach Walsh, broadcasting live from the San Marcos High School Rattler broadcast studio. And we had a chance to visit with the boys golf team, and now we get the chance now to be visited with members of the girls golf team. So, Coach, welcome back into Rattler Up. Thanks for staying with us for another segment. Girls, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? Give us your name, your grade, and tell us how long you've been golfing.
I'm Daniela Alvarez. I'm a junior. I believe I've been doing this since I was 10, a long time. I also do volleyball as well, outside and school. With golf, it's hard because I'm like Kai, he says, with two sports juggling at the same time. But I do still the same thing where I still try to pick up a club. If I pitch, hit, I just need to pick up something to keep that momentum, that same thing going.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Eliza Lozano. I'm a senior, and I I recently just started playing this year. Shout out to my mom. She's the one who got us involved, and this is my sister.
Hi, I'm Alinda Lozano, and I, like her, basically just started golf. And referring back to what Danny said, being a multi-sport athlete and having like volleyball, basketball, and everything back to back, you're always busy and on your toes. But yeah, so I would say it's pretty good so far and everything that's going on.
Before you ask me this question, so I remember talking to EJ about being the head golf coach because and the only reason I asked him is I played golf and watched him play golf, and he was really good. I didn't know if he could coach it or not, but he was good. But I remember him asking for all the information and tell me how many kids I got. And I think he said it earlier, but I didn't give him a long list of golfers returning. And you said there's 2 girls left. I just heard just started, right? And their success has been good. I'll let them finish.
Well, we've got a video coming up that's going to show that.
Yeah.
I think folks will be surprised. These are first-year golfers. Well, so tell us a little bit. I'd like to explore from all 3 of you exactly that. So what brought you to golf? What made you want to be a part of it, either at 10 years old or the other day?
It's actually kind of hard to explain because it was just like my mom just was like, I'm so tired of team sports, like just go out and do something by yourself. And she's like, golf is like a good sport, like go ahead and go do it. And then we were like debating, we are like, I don't know if we should. And then one day we just said, hey coach, like do you still have a spot?
So make a decision together?
Yeah.
Same day?
I would say I made the decision before she did because I was like
Like at breakfast and at lunch she decided?
well, Mom definitely pushed for that individual sport. She just wanted us to see how we strived on our own and be able to come out there and watch us play and see where we're at as an individual. But I would definitely say Mom definitely pushed for that, and I think my way of getting in was I told her, okay, if you buy me a golf skirt.
Oh, what about you, Daniela?
I'm a little different than them too. The one person that pushed me the most was my dad and my brother. Mangia, as he said, he coached a lot of kids, including my brother, back in middle school. And how I started was when my brother picked up a golf club, I would go out there with my dad and my brother, and I would just be like, wow, I kind of like this too. So then I picked it up. And the one person that kept pushing me was my dad. And I remember last year, I was so close to quitting, but he was the only person that believed in me that don't do it. Don't quit. You're so good at it, and you push yourself, and I love that. So I would give all the credit to my dad.
Awesome. So, Coach, we talked a little bit earlier about the difficulty of, again, the travel schedule, right? We know that you've got to move around, and I think that another aspect of that people may not realize is how much that crimps your recruitment. I mean, again, football, these are guys that have been playing since Pop Warner football. Baseball, softball, these guys have been playing since Little League. I experienced them. I have a daughter that's 17. When she was little, I could take her to the Texas State golf course. We could golf for $7. My 5th grader now, I don't know that she's ever picked up a club. I have nowhere to take her that I can teach her the game of golf. How does that affect you, getting kids that are interested in growing a team?
Well, that's just one of the challenges again. I mean, golf is a sport where, people tend to think of it where you need money to play. Mm-hmm. And, coming in, I learned that in the past years when they start practice at Bobcat driving range that they would have to pay out of pocket. And I think that was one goal that we both, me and Coach McWhorter had. Like, we didn't want any kids paying out of pocket. And we have a phenomenal booster club where they understand it. And we talked about fundraiser ideas. So, our middle school season starting up this week. And, that's one thing we're trying to bring kids out and explore the sport too as well. Like, hey, we'll take care of everything. If you don't have clubs, we'll bring your clubs. If you don't have equipment, we'll bring it for you. If you don't have money for a bucket of balls, we'll provide it. So that was just one challenge. But then, just having supportive families, having, supportive parents, they always help out with whatever's needed. And then also the partnerships that we build to the golf course that we do go to. They know our circumstances. They know that we're commuting. They know we're making the drive up there. So, there's been businesses and golf courses that have, treated us, phenomenal and just let us walk their course for free. And they've been just some great partners to us.
That's awesome.
And you said you're starting middle school. I think you told me how many actually signed up that might be interested?
Well, when I went to Miller Middle School and I talked to their 7th grade boys and their 8th grade boys, and at first I had a sign-up sheet, and that sign-up sheet for both classes, it got to 40 people easily. So then after that I was like, forget the sign-up sheet. It takes too much time. I'm just going to talk and let them hit golf balls. So, tomorrow's our first day of practice. I know they're in soccer season too as well. I've been getting a lot of emails saying, hey, my son or daughter can't make it. But tomorrow, with the complications of soccer going on, we're still expecting at least 30 kids to come out.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That's where that growth has to happen, Coach. We've talked about the impact of middle school athletics for so long now, and it's just crucial that we get those programs down there.
Yeah, hearing Michael say he saw a poster is great, but I want him to hear coaches. And listen to Coach McGee go down there. They need to hear coaches and see who's going to coach them and recruit them out there.
Absolutely. Well, Danielle, I want to ask you, we talked to the boys about practice. Walk us through your personal and your team's practice schedule. What is it like for you individually? How do y'all get practice and get ready for tournaments?
Well, with me, I am the only girl in the 5th grade golf period, and I push the girls like Eliza and Alinda to go hit balls and go do something, pick up a club. But at the same time, I go out after practice and I go straight to volleyball practice. So go to school, right after school, go to golf practice, and right after that, I go to volleyball. It's very cramped, but I like it. I like that busy schedule. I like because I don't like being bored, and I don't like sitting at home and doing all that. That's what I like about it. I'm always on my toes.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Eliza, you seem to be a solid unit with your sister, and you guys seem to be a solid unit as a team. I asked the boys same thing. What is that like developing a team, especially when you guys were specifically looking to find an individual sport? Have you found a cool team as a part of that?
Oh, man. I would definitely say since the moment we got on the bus, our first tournament, we got on the bus, I meet this completely wacky, fun, cool girl. She tells me she's not a morning person. I didn't buy it. She had a Red Bull in her hand, and she was everywhere, all jumping around the bus. Come to find out later after the tournament, she was not lying. She was twice, not even 3 times as much of that energeticness. And actually, I love her. She's actually went to the last tournament and golfed in Dino pajama pants with her Gaga glasses. She's
all right, we got to golf with
amazing.
style. I like it.
Yeah, I would definitely say we've all grown and established a real true connection and friendship. It's definitely been a real eye opener. We come out there and we go and we golf as individuals, but we come back and we're on the bus and go eat meals as a team, and it's very, it's cool. Very happy to know. It's very good and happy. It's it's very interesting. It's something new, and I definitely like it.
That's awesome. Well, now we have some video of you as well, and so to hear that this is your first year, go ahead and bring up our video. I understand this is from the 18th hole at Olympia Hills at last week's district tournament. How many yards out are we here?
I would say she was about 70 yards out. A good little pitch shot.
70-yard pitch shot on the 18th. Look at that, Coach.
Dang.
That's the kind of shots you and I were hitting at the golf fundraiser.
No. Mine hit the water to the left. No way.
I would have hit that person standing there. So walk us through that. You're on the 18th. You're trying to wrap it up. How do you feel when you hit that? That's the kind of shot that makes you just, I'm going to keep playing golf.
Did you think it was going in?
Oh man, lucky hole number 18. Actually, I had no idea where it went.
Oh, you didn't see it? You didn't know?
Nope. I just knew I had to get it on the green, and actually the next day, like I said, lucky hole number 18, I went out and I birdied on that hole.
Oh, nice.
The next day.
And that Olympia Hills is hard. That course is difficult.
And that's one of the reasons she didn't see it coming in. I mean, Olympia Hills, the name fits it very well, very hilly. So, that green is really elevated. So she could not even see. She could see the green. It was a back pin placement. Once it got on, she had no idea, how close it actually was with her being so far down below.
Right. Well, let me ask all of you. So all of you share the mic there. What are you best at? Is it driving, putting, your short iron game? Like, what part of your golf game has been your go-to so far? I want to hear from all of you.
The one who's been playing since 10. Here's the mic.
With me, I prefer long. I really, really love hitting my driver. You can ask all the guys. I'm always the first one to grab the driver out. I love it. I love my the long game. Short game, still need some work on, but I'm getting there.
What about you girls?
Ooh, this is tough.
She likes hole 18.
I would say pitching.
She likes hole 18.
Well, given that I play softball, short game wasn't always my best game because learning that difference and how soft to hit the ball and just on how much force to give that ball was definitely a new perspective. And I would definitely say I'm better at the short game, but when I'm off the green and I go out there and I swing it, I actually putt off the green because I know. It's just knowing
Otherwise
how you play.
Yeah.
It's knowing how you play.
It's what I do all the time, Coach. I putt off the fairway.
And what about you? What's the highlight of your game right now?
I would say it's pretty like uneven. It switches a lot. So I think it's also really weird. Like if I'm driving on like a range, it's beautiful. It's perfect. And like the second that I like drive and I'm in play, it's like, oh, went in the trees. But I say I could do pretty good with putting. And pitching. Pitching is probably like bottom line favorite.
Now what I couldn't do that you guys have to do is you have to hit the ball and play with people watching. I absolutely hate when other people are watching and I have to swing a golf club. That's, like you said, you hit the range, I can hit all day long, but the moment I've got eyes on me, it falls apart.
I think that was like the hardest part because first year and then it was like first time ever being at district and everybody's around you and then whenever they call your name, they clap. And like you just like say your ball and everything and it's like, it was so new to me and I was just so scared. And
you're like, look over there.
Yeah. I was like, oh, look at the bird.
All right, well, girls, thank you guys for being here with us on Rattler Up. We're excited to see all the things that you've done to help build this program. We thank you for being with us. Now, before we go, Coach, we wanted to there's a little bit of outside of golf part that we wanted to ask you about. So if my Rattler broadcast studio techs will help me out a little bit here, we're going to get some help here. So, Coach, we understand that you're a bit of a karaoke master.
Yeah.
We're on live television. You've got a mic. We're just going to let you do your thing.
His girl that I stole, the sheriff fight for that white gold. This one from them hood girls, straight moon, pearl, straight masterpieces. I don't have the words coming on. It's a little hard to words, you know? Like, I like to sing, I like to dance, I like to crowd,
good.
You know, without the words, it's a better show. It's a better show.
All right, well, thank you, girls golf team and karaoke master EJ Mungia. Thank you for being with us on Rattler Up, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being on. All right, well, that is going to do it this week for Rattler Up, the place to go for all the best information on Rattler Nation. Coach, lots of golf this week on Rattler Up. Do you think we need to do a live episode from Top Golf maybe soon?
Soon, very soon.
I think that's where we need to be. Well, before we go, as always, we want to remind people of all the places you can catch the Rattlers in action this week. The baseball team at home this week. You can catch them tomorrow night against New Braunfels, first pitch at 7 o'clock. And softball with 2 opportunities to catch them in action in San Marcos High School with back-to-back games against the Judson Rockets Wednesday and Thursday. Both of those first pitches take place at 7 o'clock. Well, that's going to do it, Coach. Before we head out, NCAA Championship tonight, San Diego State, UConn. Who you got?
UConn.
UConn all the way. Coach.
Too much hype.
Coach?
I like the underdogs. I'm going for San Diego State.
Cheering for San Diego State.
I'm cheering for them.
But maybe picking. Okay, that makes sense.
UConn.
All right, well, we want to thank VYPE and our producer, Josh, for he's putting together a great platform for us here to talk about all things Rattler Nation. Thanks to Jack Moore and all the students that reach us here in the Rattler Broadcast Studio and all the great graphics and settings and camera angles that we get each week on Rattler Up. That'll do it for this week. For Coach Walsh, I'm CJ Odom. Thanks for watching Rattler Up.